Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to season number 2, off-season number 2 for the Carolina Panthers here on the Pastors Game 2 Panther franchise. And we have lots to talk about. Man, what a season. We had we went on and we won the big dance. We did the thing, ended by winning the Super Bowl with a stout D, and this guy on screen right here, number 20, Raheem Blackshear, just came through and blew the league away with an amazing performance in the second half of the season. But we also had a pretty good defense. Here you see Dante Jackson getting a little interception action, pick six action. And the defense was really exciting, led the league in sacks. There's a Wusu Koromoa there. And here we've got another sack. I think this one was Brian Burns. No, that's still Wusu Koromoa. But the defense played well. But man, part of the issue that we're going to have this year is we've got to prepare for a lot of expiring contracts. Lots of expiring contracts. We'll look at that in just a minute. And so exciting as this team is, we're going to have to break it up a little bit in order to keep a team together. Nice pass there to Tyrone Lucas. Also had a great year this year. So lots of young talent to build the team around, but also some star players that are going to need, we got some decisions to make about them. So we're going to jump into all of that and more. We got a draft to do. We got all kinds of things to do. So first thing we've got to deal with is our staff. Man, we had the offensive and defensive coordinators go on to new jobs. And so now we got to figure out how to hire some new stuff. So we kind of went through some of this, looking at Jamie Rodriguez for the offensive coordinator. We like to use the Las Vegas Raider playbook, and it was Jamie Rodriguez who had that playbook natively. We were kind of going to this idea that we would try to adopt the playbook of the coordinators. And so with him having the same one, it made it pretty easy. Even though he doesn't have a big tree yet, we were able to sign Jamie Rodriguez to the offensive coordinator position. And we've got to sign a defensive coordinator as well, which we really liked last year's defensive coordinator. And we've been running the 3-4 scheme, and there's a lot of different 3-4 options. You see Shannon Fisher here has the disguised 3-4. You see Dean Fuller with the 3-4 under. We've been running the 3-4 storm, I believe. And so none of these, actually, I think there may have been a guy at the beginning that had 3-4 storm, but let's take a look here. Yeah, with 3-4 storm, these are the schemes that we're running, and we kind of decided to jump back here and take a look and see, should we be changing? I really like the way the defense played last year, and so I don't really want to change the scheme. But here are some of the options. 3-4 storm. I was just kind of looking to see what our team construction looks like. So with the 73%, we could do any of these 3-4 kind of options. So we're going to stick with 3-4 storm, which means we're just going to probably just stay with the 3-4 defense in general. And that's going to be Dean. We decided to go with him. He's got a little bit more in his tree, and that allows us to focus a little bit more on the offensive guy with our staff points. So we're going to go with this dude, Dean Fuller. So the offensive coordinator is Jamie Rodriguez, and the new defensive coordinator will be Dean Fuller. And that's going to wrap up our staff for this year. Hopefully, these guys are going to play well for these two, and we get that thing going. Okay, so here's kind of the big deal. So we're going to take a look at our team, and this year it's all about salaries. It's all about salaries. I know we looked at this a little bit in the preview, but here's Bryce Young. Quarterback is not a problem. We don't need to do anything at quarterback this year, although the draft class is a quarterback friendly draft class. Also, a running back, don't need to make any major moves. May want to add a power back here. And so we might look at doing something like that. But if that doesn't make itself available, we're not too worried about it. Fullback is good as well. On the receiver piece, though, we need to make some moves. Number one, Chosen Anderson is just extra. We don't need him. He's getting, he's a little bit older veteran, maybe a mentor level at this point. I don't think he has the mentor trait, but Chosen Anderson is we're not going to want to sign him. Actually, I really don't even want to play him. So we're going to be looking to move Chosen Anderson and Rashee Rice. We are going to look to sign Scott, though. And so we're going to keep Scott, get rid of Rice, and get rid of Anderson. And that leaves the wide receiver core a little bare. We've gotten rid of a lot of good talent. DJ Chark over the years, Adam Thielen, really going to lean into the young talent that we have with Mingo and Lucas. So that's kind of what we're thinking about with the wide receiver position. And the things going on with those other names underneath there, they're going to get cut probably. So not really worried about them. And if they don't, then they don't really affect our stuff too much. Really liking what Lucas is bringing. So maybe he's going to be a big timer for us. And here we've got the tight end position, and it's not pressing because none of these contracts are expiring, but they will be next year, and it's all three of them. So we're going to be looking to the draft to probably try to find a tight end. We've got a couple prospects that we really, really like. And so that means Hayden Hurst, when we're looking to offload him, probably going to keep Trimble and probably going to keep Thomas. Although Thomas has a huge contract and not quite sure what's going on with that. $7 million. Sheesh. But yeah, so expect some changes here at the tight end position. As far as a need, we're going to mark this as a need for our team because, well, this team is in need of a tight end. And Hayden Hurst had a lot of drops. I mean, he just, the play just really dropped from year one to year two. He was a really reliable target in year one. And maybe he just didn't get enough balls thrown to him. I don't know. Left tackle looks okay. We do have an expiring contract on the left guard position. And here we have another scenario very similar to the tight end where all of our where an entire center core will be gone. So we got to make some moves to try to figure out something at the center position. The center position has been hard to fill, and so we'll probably look in the draft for linemen in general, and then maybe move some of these players around to see where they fit. Austin Corbett has a huge contract. He's 83 overall, and maybe in his prime, he's probably got to be traded. As we gotta, with all these expiring contracts, we want to re-sign some of these people, but I don't think that we'll have the cap space. So we're going to be looking at some of these higher cap space of positions and look to move them. So right guard, we expect some movement there. The left end, also here, Shy Tuttle, another expiring contract, $14 million with a 72 overall. Feels like maybe we don't need that. So we expect some movement on the left end position. We're not going to sign Marquise Haynes. He's due, and we're going to go ahead and let him walk. Going to keep Larry Payne for now. And the rest of these players are probably going to go. So the right end position is going to be something we need to fill. Derek Brown is definitely going to be traded this year. Derek Brown is probably our best piece, and we want to eventually try to move into the first round. We don't have a first round draft pick this year. And Derek Brown is 26 years old, 86 overall, and a great trade. I think superstars trade. Making a lot of money though. And so he's probably a player that can get us a first round draft pick and free up some cap space for us to re-sign some players. And so Derek Brown is on the trading block. Usu Cormore, we gotta keep. Von Bell, as you guys heard me in the last video, not quite sure. I think we're going to keep Von Bell. At least we're going to try to. If we see something amazing in the draft, then maybe. He's making a lot of money though, and he could be a guy that gets traded later in the season if we really feel like we need to do something like that. But I think we're gonna try to hold on to him for the first for this offseason of season 2. So Von Bell is pretty safe. I'm going to try to keep him. Tyree Wilson, we're also going to keep him. Really like Amari Barno. You don't see his stats here, but he's got 93 speed, and he's only rated 69 overall. I wonder if we can get him in the game a little bit more. Now, this is an interesting position because with the cornerback position, we've got two cats making a lot of money. We got Dante Jackson, we got Chris Henderson, or CJ Henderson. Dante Jackson, one of these two players will not be with this team at the end of this offseason. Either Dante or Henderson. I prefer to move Henderson, but he's 25-year-old, 78, playing well. I think he's got a star trait, and I think Dante Johnson has a superstar trait. So Henderson could be a guy that gets moved, but as a young player, you know, he could be a pretty good piece for somebody. Yeah, here's a quicker look at him. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to see if he was a star player, and he is. So CJ Henderson may be a guy that gets moved, but again, the entire look at that one. All these have 1 year remaining, which means the year we're going into, they're going to want to be re-signed. And the big thing is going to be JC Horn. JC Horn is just got promoted to superstar X Factor, and he's going to command a lot of money. The free safety position, we like Xavier Woods, but we're looking there. And the strong safety position as well. Looks like Johnson contract is up, and we're not going to extend him. So that gives us a quick look at what we're looking at. We did look at the kicker, but we're going to lose our kicker as well. So here's what it looks like. It's the kicker, the tight end, the right guard, and the center on offense. And then it's going to be the free safety, cornerback, right outside linebacker, right end, defensive tackle, and left end are the positions that we're going to be looking to fill for this offseason. And so that's going to do it. And for those of you who know how we do this, we kind of do this in 4 weeks. So in week number 1, we're going to try to take care of a little bit of our needs. So let's go in and take a look at some of the draft prospects. We've got a draft board kind of filled out here. You can kind of go through here if you want to go a little bit slower and look at all these players. I don't think we're going to go through every one of them. It's going to take a little time, but we're going to highlight a few that we really want to see. Left tackle Jose Mays. I think this guy can play anywhere on the offensive line with these statistics. He's got good run block power, He's got a good pass block. So he's pretty good against finesse, pretty good against power. Like him a lot. So he's going to be a guy, a potential for a first round draft pick. This guy here, I'm in love with. Dom Abel. His projection says round 1 or 2. It was round 3, 4. And looking at him, he's the number 1 fastest receiver, elite jumping, elite speed. Going to be very interested to see the rest of his numbers as he plays out. Also looking at Patrick Wakefield, the right guard. Again, looking for some more help on the offensive line. The offensive line was the game changer for our team, and losing, I forget who it is, the right guard might cause a little bit of problems. So we want to definitely try to shore that up. Greg Duganin around 3-4 also looks great. Elite speed, great jumping, great change of direction, great elite agility. I love that he's got A on zone coverage, B on play recognition. Very curious to see what his man-to-man will look like. But could be a nice backup and could fill in for certain positions, certain formations at the right outside linebacker where we need him. Michael Flores, free safety, looks good, looks solid. Nothing amazing, but love his tackle, love his block shed, love his hit power. Very curious to see again how he breaks out into zone coverage. If we can get that tackle and zone coverage for the free safety, I'm down. I love being able to put him there. It would be very nice. Okay, so the first trade that we went for this year was an attempt to get into the first round. Moved around, checked around to see if we could get some suitors. Tried the Washington Commanders, couldn't find anything. Also tried the Jets and the 49ers and the Lions, the Chargers. And so we started to land on this pick number 6 with the Rams. Decided maybe Corbett and Derek Brown, as we mentioned, would be the pick. And we also threw in our cornerback, but he didn't want him. Wasn't enough. So we decided, well, what if we put in next year's number 1? And that did work. So we ended up trading away Corbett and Derek Brown and next year's number 1 for this year's number 1. And the Rams are going to be solid in the middle. They've got Aaron Donald. They've got Derek Brown now. And between those two, the edge and the middle, the Rams defense could be very difficult to run on. Another trade that we wanted to go after was to try to replace the right guard that we just lost. And so we've been looking to get rid of Anderson and Hurst with Henderson as the key piece. The cornerback CJ Henderson. We talked about that earlier. Wondered, could we get this New England Patriot Mike Onwenu? It's kind of a stretch. I like it. He only has 4 years left on his contract, so he wasn't going to be someone we had to sign right away. Thought we'd give this a shot, and it was very close. Almost took this, but they did not want to go for it. Washington Commanders gave us a call. Very interested in the cornerback, CJ Henderson. So we took a look at Dom Lewis, 3 years left on his contract, a young player, day 1 starter. Last year's, I think this is a draft pick for them last year. And we go for this trade, and we do get it. We send them CJ Henderson, Chosen Anderson, and Hayden Hurst. All 3 positions were positions of need for the Washington Commanders. I don't think they had a tight end signed at all. Henderson will be their top cornerback, and Anderson will be a top 2 receiver for them. And they still got a lot of cap space to go into the free agency to increase their team. So that turns out to be 2 pretty good moves for us. Now let's take a look at the free agency to see who's out here. Dexter Lawrence is out here. Jalen Hurts, again, another big name quarterback out here in the free agency. Justin Herbert also out here in the free agency. You can see Michael Pittman, Michael Evans. These are huge names. Gabriel Davis, Brandon Ayuk, Gardner Johnson, CJ Gardner Johnson, Marquise Brown, very interested in us. Might be, I don't know. Should we go after Marquise Brown? Tua Tagovailoa, Chidobe Awuzie. Man, lots of players out here. Trent Brown. Is that Trent Brown? That is Trent Brown. Trent Brown also very interested in us and joining our team. And there's Jeremy Chin. Oh man, we should just sign him. He doesn't want to come back though. But man, maybe we should get Jeremy Chin. He could play that free safety that we were talking about. Speaking of the free safety, we decided to look at some of the options, and we found this guy, Darnell Savage, and we decided to make a play for Darnell. Darnell Savage is a 93 speed overall, 92 acceleration, nice awareness, and we think, man, let's see if we can get this guy. And then we also decide to take a look at the cornerback position. The cornerback position, we need, again, we gave away CJ Henderson and decided maybe we can find someone else who can fill that space. So we're looking through here, and I believe we found somebody. And I know some of you are thinking it's a money move, really. It's just a money move to get rid of CJ Henderson. Michael Carter, I think, is going to be our guy. 93 speed, 94 acceleration, 25 years old, able to grow with us. And if we can sign him for a lengthy contract, I think it'll be good. A shorter player, 5'10", and so that is a little concerning. But I like the 4 years, and I like the salary. Much better. If we can sign these 2 players, that would be tremendous. So we process, and sure enough, Darnell Savage and Michael Carter are Panthers now. Darnell will fill a spot for us in the secondary, and so will Carter. And that's interesting. I think it's interesting. One of the things we wanted to get better last season was really getting that secondary to be more formidable. So now we got J.C. Horn playing really well, able to retain Dante Jackson, adding Michael Carter, keeping Eric Stokes, and adding Savage could be pretty formidable. All right, so we're moving on to week number 2. And in week number 2, we able to knock out a few of our things. Got our free safety, got our cornerback, and we were able to unload some contracts and get ourselves a little more money, basically to re-sign players later. So we decided to jump right back into free agency because we still need to do something about the center position, and we don't see where we're going to really get that in the draft. Maybe we'll get it in the draft, but maybe not. Maybe we can get a skilled player with our first round draft pick and not have to use it for a lineman. So decided to jump in here. Didn't see anything that was really intriguing for the center position. And so we looked over here in the left guard position to see if maybe we can find something here, and decided to take a look at Josh Jones. Josh Jones, we're going to give him a 4-year offer and see if he'll be willing to join. Again, a younger player that can grow with this pretty young team. And Josh Jones decides that the blue and black is that what we would say is the Panther colors, blue and black, the blue and black, or we say black and blue. Black and blue feels better. The black and blue will be the new home for Josh Jones. Okay, so that gives us quite a few left guards that somebody's going to get moved to the center position. I believe it's going to be Christensen. We thought we would come in here and just change Jones, but with the way this is looking, Christensen is sitting behind Jenkins, and he might as well get some reps. So I think we're going to go ahead and change Christensen. I like these left guards though. All these feel pretty good and could grow with the team, and gives us a little depth in pretty much this position and the right guard position. But here we're going to go to make the change. Here's Brady Christensen. Going to go ahead and change him to the center position, and then take a look at the center position and see just what we have there. Remember, our issue is not the ratings. The issue here is the contracts. We're going to be losing Bradley Bozeman, and we're going to be using Feliciano at the end of this year coming up. So we need to go ahead and shore up that position to go beyond the year. Not sure we're going to bring both of those players back. So, we got to figure out what to do there. So the center and the left guard positions look good for right now. They look good for right now. And that's going to end. I think that's going to end. Is that going to end? Let me look at this. Oh no, we still have one more trade to make before we got quite a bit to do before week 2 ends. So we're looking at a trade deal here, and this is really about getting rid of players more than it is about gaining players. We're pretty heavy at center now, and thought, well, let's go ahead and package some of these players and see if we can get a little help, particularly at the defensive tackle position. That's what we were thinking about for this particular deal. Kind of went through and looked at what players would be exciting to some of the teams, and we found that the Eagles were excited about Rashee Rice and Bozeman, and Tuttle was just a kind of an extra. I think it's interesting though, because they have a 1-star next to Rice. He's a young receiver with a star def. Curious why he's got 1 star. And they had a green light on him, so they liked him. But anyway, so Williams is going to come, the defensive tackle, Michael Williams. I think it's Maurice M. Williams. It's going to come on our team. We're going to send Bozeman, Rice, and Tuttle. Again, another trade where every one of these positions feels a need for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not sure what the Philadelphia Eagles were doing. They've got rid of a lot of players, left themselves a lot of holes. But those 3 players did match needs for the Eagles. And so that frees up just a little more cap space. Let's update, took a look again at some of our prospects. We've had some time. We'll look at a few more than we did before, and there'll be some repeats as well that we look at. But as I'm sitting here thinking through it, I'm like, man, who do we really want to go? We got this first round 6 pick, and we don't necessarily have to go for linemen now, offensive linemen. So I decided to look at Percy Red. He's not necessarily on my board, but we do need a right outside linebacker. But he wasn't all that intriguing. Looking back at Jose Mayes, is it Mayes? Mayes still looks like a good player this week. Probably the number one pick for us. This guy seems like he could be a number one. Probably should be a number one. Dom Abel, man, he just looks like an amazing prospect. He just looks amazing. Greg Dugan, this is kind of a diamond in the rough. Round 3, we talked about him before. He's still looking good. Michael Flores, we talked about him before. He's still looking good. Dropped a little bit in some of his numbers. Patrick Wayfield, talked about him as well. Man, I mean, any of these players will be good for a first round draft pick. There's a player we hadn't talked about though. Brian Franklin has elite acceleration. I love that about him. And he looks like a top pick. Definitely a round 1 prospect. Could be someone that we go for. And Isaiah Swift, he's a day 3 option, but he's a power back that could complement Blackshear in the backfield. We lost Ingram. Chauncey Hamlin, another nice prospect. I don't think we're going to get him though, unless we draft him ahead of everything. And then Rashawn Weber, another good cornerback option. Looks pretty good, but I think we might be good at cornerback. Again, we'll see. Good pick for a second and third round option. There's another player, tight end Mark Allen. He's right behind Dom Aubrey, the other tight end that I said I'm in love with. So both of those players look like they could be pretty good. Okay, week number 3. We start week number 3. Let's take a look at some of the needs. Okay, so we did get our defensive tackle in the trade. We did get the center. And then we ended up trading a center. We still have needs for right guard, tight end, kicker, and a few other things. All right, so looking at the 5th year options, this is actually a pretty big deal for us. We have so many expiring contracts this year. Anybody would be good. And so we did get J.C. Horn to extend his, but we decided to decline on Eric Stokes. J.C. Horn, man, that's going to be huge to push him to one more year. And but Stokes, I think we can go ahead and figure out if we want to sign him or not this year. That's what I'm thinking with that. We didn't have any other 5th year option players. But again, with so many players needing to re-up this year, could be a thing. The wide receiver position is pretty slim. We might actually need to do something about that. Eventually find someone to fill in a wide receiver spot for us. But what we're doing here is dancing through the roster here is, I think we decided we're going to go ahead and make some changes to the right end and the right outside linebacker position. We've got Tyree Wilson at the right outside linebacker position, and he's probably a better player at the right end position. But Larry Payne is a draft pick that we had last year, and we really don't want to, put him on the bench. So we're going to try Larry Payne at the defensive tackle position. We lost the defensive tackle with Derek Brown, and we did pick up Williams in a trade, but I wonder what kind of impact Payne could have there. And that would free up Wilson to go to the right end position. And that does create a bigger need for linebacker on our team. If he's going to move, if Tyree Wilson's going to move to the right end, then now we have kind of a hole at right outside linebacker. We already have some issues with the left outside linebacker with no backup for him. So that means we go back to the trading block. And in this one, I think we want to trade down. We don't really want to keep this 6th pick. Decide maybe we want to get somewhere around 10, 11, or 12. So we look at the Raiders and looking to trade down and get Divine Diablo. Divine Diablo feels like the kind of player that we like. Kind of a speed player, able to make the tackle. Former safety, translated to linebacker, and could probably fill the space pretty well. So we decided to try this first round. Maybe we can get the second round. I know this feels a little cheesy, and they didn't take it anyway. We end up going with the trade, first round and second round. We send the first round, second round, and we get their first round, second round, and Diablo. And really, for some reason, I had it in my head that we were second round at the end of the round, but our second round pick was someone else's from last year. So we ended up only trading up one spot in the second round, but the idea was to trade up. It was to trade down in the first round and to trade up in the second round. Works out for the Raiders a little bit, though. They get a 6th round pick, able to get exactly what they want. They don't lose very much on the second round. And they end up giving up Diablo, which is not, a super key player for them. So we're happy with it, and so are the Raiders. Okay. All right, so now we finished up the free agency, and kind of want to take a look here. Jalen Hurts is a Seahawk now. Oh, man, that's going to be tough. Justin Herbert is a Patriot. Man, that's going to be tough. Michael Pittman goes to Detroit. Mike Evans to Minnesota. Gabe Davis goes to New York. Also a good player. Ayuk in the Indianapolis Colts, and Gardner Johnson is a Bear. Marquise Brown goes to Tennessee. Curious to see if Tennessee got another quarterback or if they're going to get another quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa goes to Denver. Is Russell Wilson still there? I don't even know. Jeremy Twin goes to Denver as well. And Leighton Vander Esch with the Bills. So, and Jordan Brooks with the Saints. Oh man, we got to deal with Jordan Brooks. I almost thought about making a play for Jordan Brooks, but we had decided early that we weren't going to try to make too big a splash in the free agency. So there you go. All right, so going into week number 4, as we get closer to the draft, have a few things that we did. We covered the right end by making the change, and I think that's the only thing that we did in that round. So let's take a look here. We were going to look at the mock draft, but for some reason it was showing the mock draft before our trade instead of after. And so it had us in the 6th position, and that wasn't going to be very helpful to us. So we won't be looking at the mock draft, but we will look at some of the scouted players that we wanted to get the college day on. We did pick a few players, so did that off screen. Wanted to get more information on Greg Dugan. This was a player that we really wanted to see if his zone coverage was. So he's got an A zone coverage and a B man coverage as a right outside linebacker. Love it. If we can get him, that would be great. As a matter of fact, the top 3 players there we're very happy with: Mays, Auble, and Dugan. If we could get those in this draft, it'd be good. Wanted to get some information on Allen, just in case we didn't get Auble. And Mark Allen looks just as good. Yeah, again, as a 3rd and 4th round pick, a steal. 3rd and 4th round. Michael Flores, This is another player we wanted to get information on. Not a big fan of his man coverage and zone coverage, and that may prevent us from signing him. And we really don't need him. We do have Savage at the free safety position. Okay, so it's now the time to jump into the draft. And the Washington Commanders are the first pick of this 2024 draft. And they draft quarterback Don McCoy. As a matter of fact, prepare your hearts, because it's going to be a lot of quarterbacks picked in this. There's just so many quarterbacks. It was a high quarterback draft class. The Falcons pick up Nathan Minter with the second pick overall, quarterback from Delaware. Minnesota picks up a right end, Artie Thomas from Stanford. Artie Thomas looked okay. We looked at him, but I didn't feel like it was amazing. Josh Carr, another Carr, goes to the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr is there, but young player, young quarterback, Josh Carr will be there as well. I think Derek Carr is still there. I'll be curious to see who starts for them. And here's Percy Reed. We looked at him, a North Carolina product. Percy Reed is a right outside linebacker. Will be playing for the Jets. And with the 6th round pick, the Raiders pick up right in Ben Arrington. Ben Arrington out of Stanford. Traded up to get Ben Arrington. He's going to fill a gap for them, probably left by Tyree Wilson. Stephen Fox, Golden Boy, for Arizona Cardinals. A player out of North Carolina. Tall quarterback, pretty much a pocket passer. And we looked at him, something different than what they had with their last quarterback. Jamil Jones, wide receiver, goes to San Francisco. We didn't really look at a lot of wide receivers. Here's another receiver going to Detroit Lions, Chris Bush. Yeah, we didn't really, this year wasn't a receiver. I don't know. We didn't pay a lot of attention to that particular position in our scouting. We keep finding ourselves like getting rid of receivers in order to make room for the young ones we have. So it just made sense to not worry about it. Ricky Winter, the left tackle, goes to the Los Angeles Chargers. And another wide receiver, Pat Weber. Is it Weber? I mean, it feels like it should be Weber, but I don't know if that's the right way to do that. But anyway, Pat Weber, wide receiver from Clemson, will play for the Steelers. And so it's us. And none of our players were picked. None of our players were picked. And so we should be clear to go with whoever we like. The question really is the left tackle or the tight end. And the tight end, man, he looks good. But with Allen, we could get either Auble or Allen. And who knows, Auble may still be there. He could still be there in the 2nd round. Tight ends don't typically go in the 1st round. But I think we're going to go with the offensive lineman. I think we're going to go with Jose Mays. Jose Mays gives us some more flexibility on the offensive line. Again, everything changed for our season last year with the offensive line. And so Jose Mays is the guy, hidden depth, has a power archetype, 6'8", 332 pounds out of LSU. Looks like a solid prospect, and we're excited about that pick. I know what you guys are thinking. You probably like, man, you should have went with the tight end. I know, I probably should have went with the tight end. We're going to go ahead and go through the rest of the 1st round. So Nazir Ali We looked at him. Solid draft pick. Goes to Houston. Right guard out of Florida. Patrick Wakefield, we saw him as well. Michigan State. Lots of offensive linemen going in this first round. In this particular draft. Houston, another number 1 draft pick. And this time they have Michigan standout John Dickens playing on the left end. Brian Franklin, we saw him right outside linebacker. Looked like a solid pick. Nothing splashy. Probably just a good contributor coming out of North Carolina. Going to go to the Tennessee Titans. And not quite sure why I'm popping into that menu. But the Baltimore Ravens pick up Vernon Hayward. Texas A&M running back goes in the first round. Another, again, just like the wide receiver position, didn't seem like this draft had a lot of really great skill players. Not worried about the halfbacks that I saw. So, curious to see if he's any good. Stan Quincy goes to, he gets picked with the 19th pick overall. And Chauncey Hamlin, we looked at him, free safety, is going to go as well. And then we get another quarterback, Jarvis Pinkney, out of Tulane, going to play with Green Bay. Malik Harris, cornerback from Texas Tech, goes to Jacksonville. And the Colts are on the clock. What will the Colts do? What will the Indianapolis Colts do? They pick up Derek Foote. Looked like a really good prospect. A good right end. We thought about him, but didn't want to pick him early. It didn't seem that good enough to pick at the 6th round. So we didn't do it. Another left end, another end goes. Austin Monk goes to West Virginia. And goes to the New England Patriots. He's out of West Virginia. The Dallas Cowboys pick up Deontay Pryor, wide receiver out of Texas Tech. Give old Dez. Wait a minute, it's not Dez. Who's the quarterback over there? Quarterback is, oh my gosh, can't think of his name. But to give the quarterback a little target. Left tackle goes to Denver Broncos, Max Spur. It's going to bug me, the name of the quarterback for the Cowboys. His name is Dak Prescott. Give Dak Prescott something to throw to. Tampa Bay Bucks pick up Alani Coleman, cornerback out of Clemson. Another player that just seemed to be okay for us. Again, this draft class didn't have killer talent. Probably the best talent was that tight end that I saw. Damian Rivers goes to the New York Giants for the, which pick is this? The 28th pick? I think it's 28. Arsenio Starks. That's a great name, Arsenio. Jermaine Richards, cornerback, goes to USC. Goes to Seattle, out of USC. And the Bengals and the Chiefs are going to round out the first round. The Bengals go with a left tackle to protect Mr. Quarterback. Oh my gosh, I can't think of anybody's name right now. Joe Burrow. And the free safety goes to the Chiefs. I was surprised by that. I'm sure the Chiefs wanted to get some skilled players. Surprised that they weren't in the mix in the free agency. Okay, so from here on out, we're just going to fast track to our pick. So we got to round 2, and our tight end that we wanted is no longer available. But we are now going to pick up Mark Allen. We absolutely need to get a tight end, and he is a hidden depth trait. 83 speed, not bad. 6'4", 250 out of Oregon. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Looking forward to seeing what he does. Could be a good player for us, for sure. In the third round, we're gonna grab Greg Dugan. Again, we always seen him as a steal. I just think his statistics look really, really good. A zone coverage, B man coverage, elite speed. He just looks great. So we draft him. He's got the 87 speed, and he is a pass coverage linebacker. I love him though, coming out of Clemson. Let's see if he can fit the bill. Not a hidden depth trait, but I'm excited about him. I think that's going to be good. Gives us some options at the linebacker position. Moving on to the fourth round, we are going to see what we get. And let's look and see what our prospects are. Okay, so looking at this, probably going to go with Isaiah Swift. Would be nice to have a power back. Don't mind doing that in the fourth round. Let's see. Fourth round. What are we looking at here? Decided maybe, is there something else out here? We're gonna go with Isaiah Swift. Gonna come in and we're gonna get this guy some reps in the preseason. Look at that, he's got a hidden depth trait. 88 speed, not the fastest guy, but a power back. Maybe someone that can just punch it in the red zone. Curious to see. Maybe he'll be a good guy. Interesting that he's a hidden depth trait. Moving on, going to get to the fifth round draft pick. And normally I try to trade away these, but that's okay. No biggie. Fifth round draft pick. I'll bet all of our players are gone, if I remember right. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to save that kicker for the Mr. Irrelevant pick. So there were a few players we looked at. We jumped into wide receiver. There were some players. We were short at wide receiver. We only have 4, so we do need to get a fifth body on that squad. So I'm kind of looking through here, and I think we're going to land on RJ Gerard. But we're looking down. I think I'm looking for anything that might look like. Look at this guy with the Fs. Teddy Ferguson with all Fs. That's wild. But we get RJ Gerard, and he's a hidden depth trait. 95 speed, 56 strength. But his traits don't look all that good. But he's another hidden depth trait. So we got lots of hiddens so far. Going to the 6th round pick. And Carolina is on the clock. And with the 6th round pick, we are going to go with... I almost picked this guy. It feels like if it's all Fs, it must be something, maybe there's some hidden thing. Maybe he's, again, a diamond in the rough. I don't know. I almost picked him just for the fun of it. But we're looking through here and trying to see. I can't remember who we picked. Maybe we picked here. We're looking for someone with an A trait. So he's got impact blocking, stamina. So we decided to go with him. Caleb Foreman, right tackle. And we'll see how he plays out for the team. And then lastly, in round 7, we're going to go ahead and pick the kicker and finish out this draft. Kicker is got a lot of kick power, and I guess that's what we need. We just need to get him some accuracy. He's at an F for short accuracy, which I think is weird. Okay. All right. That leaves us with just a few more things to do. Kind of a draft recap, and then we'll look at the roster, and then we'll get ready for the preseason of season 3. But look at the draft recap here. Going to try to take a look at our team. 75 overall for the left tackle, 74 overall for the tight end. We're okay with that. Greg Dugan only a 70. I'm surprised by that, actually. And then we've got the kicker with 75. Isaiah Swift with only 68. And Gerard is a 69. But they're both hidden depth trades. Got the $85 million cap room, which we love. If you catch that in the top right, the product of all of our trades, as we figure out re-signing people. But yeah, okay. Isaiah Swift is a player I'm kind of interested in. I'm going to give him a lot of reps in the preseason. See what he can do. I'm a little bothered by that 88 speed. Want him to be a little bit faster, but we'll see. Overall draft class, top player in the draft is Nathan Minter. Goes to the Atlanta Falcons. They get the gold star. Good players. Rashawn Weber was a player we looked at. He's a cornerback. Hayward was 77. Surprised by that. The halfback that's underneath. And another cornerback is 77. So pretty good secondary in this draft that we did not get a part of. There's our guy, Dom Albell. He's a 76 overall. And ranked just a little bit better than our guy. Our guy was 74. But Dom is a hidden depth trait. I looked at it. And anyway, very curious to see what happens with him as he goes on. Want to take a look at some of our conference rivals to see how their draft went. Tampa Bay had one good player, but the rest of their players didn't seem to be big contributors. But the Falcons did well. Got a quarterback and a receiver. Perhaps these two will make a connection. Anthony O'Neal, a speedster on the outside, and they needed that. I remember playing them. They didn't have strong wide receivers. They've got, I forget his name, but one guy over there. But they definitely needed a quarterback. So that's the right pick for them. They got rid of Desmond Ridder. Oh, wait. Desmond Ridder. Is he still over there? And they drafted a quarterback? I don't know. The Saints also drafted a quarterback with Carr and Phillips. The thing about a draft class with a lot of quarterbacks is, man, somebody's got to draft them. I mean, they're going to get drafted. They're high-rated players. A lot of these teams may not seem like they need it. I think the Saints probably made the right move, but the Falcons, if they still have Desmond Ridder, then that's a little sus. But I don't know. We'll see. Here's a quick recap of the team. Quarterback remains the same. Bryce Young, 86 overall. Raheem Blackshear is in the piece. Currently 82 overall. We'll see what it looks like once we get to preseason. But again, Isaiah Swift with the 89 acceleration and 88 speed. And man, very low in a lot of ways. But currently ranked 66. Probably because he's third string. I'm not quite sure what the skinny is. with why he dropped already, Jalen Samuels. We do pick up Gerard here, and he fills out a speedy core. Mingo seems to be the possession receiver, but nearly everyone else, can create some space. The question is, can they catch? But very interesting to see how that's going to go. Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas, and Mark Allen. I think we're going to probably move on from Ian Thomas. Mark Allen will definitely get some reps. In the preseason, we're probably going to start him. I don't know. We'll see. Tommy Tremble, we need to see what he can do too. But it'll be Tremble and Allen who are the top players there. Akim Akwanyu will remain the left tackle spot, but there's the number 1 draft pick, Hayes, right behind him, and he's down probably because he's not starting. We're probably going to move Hayes to somewhere else. We may move Hayes to the center position. That may be what happens. And we also got this right guard position that needs a little help. So there's probably going to be some movement on the offensive line before we're all said and done. Terrence Steele holds it down for the right tackle position. Brian Burns, you already know, left end, doing his thing. Tyree Wilson on the right end, feeling pretty good about that. Larry Payne and Williams and Wharton really like the way the defensive tackle positions playing out. Perhaps Larry Payne can really make a home in this position. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is going to hold down left outside linebacker. We need someone to go over there to the left outside linebacker, and that person will probably be the newly drafted Greg Dugan, who will go over and back up Owusu-Koramoah. And I think that left outside linebacker gets a lot more energy, gets a lot more action. So it could be really interesting to see if he can come in and make a name for himself at that position. Right outside linebacker, Brandon Smith. We may make a move here. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. And by move, I mean we may move Divine Diablo there. We may give Barno a chance, that speedy player, speedy linebacker. There's the kicker and the punter, and we saw we needed some backup help at the strong safety position. So we did jump over to free agency, see if we can find someone. Found Jamar Johnson, and he is going to pick it up. And that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. That end of the offseason for year number 2. Big challenge was to free up salary cap space, try to keep some of our best players, and maybe protect the offensive line. Offensive line was a big piece for our last little bit of the season last year. So I think it's going to be that way again this year. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe, and hang out for the preseason. See ya.